Yo, what's up, everybody? Got the homie Joe from Socal here today. What's up, big dog? How you doing today?
Doing good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Uh, Doing great. Love having you on. I've been trying to, schedule you in, try to get you in here. I was gonna do something when we were at Pomona last time, but I was like, you know what? I was like, we gonna do a thing. Do it live. We gotta do it right. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors real quick. We got Eden's Den, guys. Make sure to check them out. Facebook, Instagram. Big supporter of everybody. Awesome guy. Then we got Fry's Critters, guys. He shows love to everybody. He's out from Australia and he's one of everybody's biggest supporters. Uh, Definitely a big positive guy doing a lot of cool things. Make sure to check him out. Instagram, Facebook. He's starting a YouTube. So make sure to check him out. He's also doing Twitch. And then big shout out. We got Zilla Footwear sponsoring the channel, guys. Make sure if you guys are looking for some awesome reptile kicks, make sure to check out the link in the bio. They've got they got amazing stuff. So make sure to check them out. They've got a lot of cool things. But without further ado, Joe, I'll let you explain who you are.
Oh man, hey, tell him I say hi. Um, well, I'm Joe. I'm owner of Socal Exotics. I've been out here in the game for quite some time. Hey, what's up, man? How are you? But yeah, been doing Socal Exotics for quite some time. I've got amazing mentors, great people that have been in the industry for years and years, and they've taught me fairly well. And you know, I've learned a lot from them, and I keep learning. I always pick their brain still. I have the honor and privilege to be able to just pick up the phone and call them. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, we're based out of Southern California. I've moved within California, but I'm still in Southern California, so that name still sticks to SoCal Exotics. Other than that, yeah, it's about it, man.
Right on, right on. Yeah, what all do you work with?
Man, I do a little bit of everything, man. I'm a hobbyist with a lot of things stuff that I like. I've been doing everything from ball pythons, berms, retail, um, phase away from the big animals too. It just depends. I mean, there's times that I acquire some animals that I like, I breed them, and sell the babies or whatnot or what have you, and share the wealth with everybody. Um, and there's times that there's stuff that I just keep to myself. So yeah, cool stuff. A little bit of everything. Mostly ball pythons though. And I have made amazing friends in this hobby. You of course, and a few other people that support the cause. That support the opportunity to be able to show these animals and teach people the right thing about the reptiles. Because a lot of people they see snakes and they're like, oh, we don't like it, and it's not about that. But it's about education and teaching people the truth about them, and and enjoy the beautiful morphs that they produce. So that's the cool thing about it.
For sure, bro. For sure. I mean, I love how you kind of just sum that up with when you move from doing it or with the big reptiles, now you're back with the little or kind of working with more common, but more that's better for you. Not taking up too much space with just one large reptile.
It's
Um,
easy. It's easy to get. Oh, purchase this, purchase that, and next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, this animal needs a bigger enclosure, and then you end up figuring out that's a 20-foot animal.
no,
And just because it looks pretty, it's not. You got to educate yourself, and that's one thing that I like to. I get a lot of DMs. People that I don't even know they existed, and they hit me up and like, hey, I have a question about this animal, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I can help. And I'll tell them, if you get a berm, there's a possibility you're going to have a bigger animal that you can handle. And, and it depends on the attitude as well. Some berms are puppies and some are just going to strike at you anytime a given time. And, as they grow bigger, obviously that bite gets harder.
right.
So, it's a give and take. You got to educate yourself prior making these purchases. Um, Same thing when I was doing the chances to win. A lot of people got up. I didn't know them. They were participating, so with a question. I'm like, hey, what do you have as far as the enclosure? And the reason I'm asking, because if you do win, you're gonna get an animal, and can you care for it? And it's like,
Right.
why? It's a lot of people did not like me questioning, and it's not against them. I want to send an animal straight to a good home. Where a
Right.
lot of people that won these snakes, they send me like 3 years later, hey, look at my first clutch out of the snake I won from, your chance to win. And that's awesome. They made that research. They did get educated and they produced, and that's, I mean, it's fairly simple. After you've been doing this for so long, it's quite easy to produce these animals, but at the same time, it's I I like to produce stuff that not many people can or haven't, or I like to produce stuff that's common. It's like, oh crap, I got three normals. Woo! To me, to me, if it's a living being, it's a living animal, and to me, even if it's a normal, what differences did you make with that normal? Or what
Yeah,
genetics?
for
Yeah,
sure.
you can have a multi-gene go to a normal and still have normals, and all of a sudden it's just like, but they're clean, they look good,
Right.
they have
And
different patterns.
I love that because like I've expressed this before is like even though we labeled like let's stick with just the ball python, even though we labeled them normal, there's not nothing normal about them. Each one is unique in its own pattern. Some of them have the really cool alien heads. Some of them are super clean to where they don't have no alien heads, but yet they're not, a morph. They're just really pretty.
Hmm.
And so like it's crazy. And like, it's the same with like, even when you look at the morphs like pastel or go with single genes, not each one has the same pattern. Now they may have the same color, but the pattern is always unique. And that's
And
what I like about that.
you're right. I've seen a lot of animals that are produced, like the pieds. Piebalgs are known to produce some cool stuff, some cool patterns. And then they got the emojis, and they call them the emoji pieds. They're not
Yep.
emojis, but their pigmentation comes out in a certain way where it looks like has got a smiley face. You
Yep.
know, I know. I remember going way back, maybe 12, 13 years ago, when I went to Prehistoric Pets, and Jay showed me pied, and it had a smiling face on it, and actually it looked like a jack o' lantern, and I was like, oh, that's a pumpkin pie. It's not even a pumpkin pie, but it had a pumpkin, like a jack
Right,
o',
right.
right, and it looked cool. But again, these are the perks of being able to produce some cool stuff.
No,
And
for
every
sure. I mean, it's cool. Like each animal has its unique pattern, and what's cool is when you start really getting to bond with these animals, you tell each one has its own personality, just like people.
I agree. I got a female that if she can bite you, any given chance you give her, she's gonna hit you.
I think we
And
all have
you
that
got
at least one.
never you got some that have never struck at anybody ever, and you could just open up and grab them, no problem. And then you got the ones that if they can, then they're gonna get you, and they're gonna get you good. So, yeah. So everything, you can handle them still, even though they come back and bite you. But I pull her out, and play with her, and handle her, and she still doesn't give two craps about me, and she'll start try to go for my face. But it
Oh,
is what
for
it
sure.
is. Hmm.
I've got one that's like that where I'll handle her, and it's funny. I have to hold her with this hand, and then I have to keep her attention with the other because she's just like a pistol,
Hmm.
and she just loves doing it. I don't know like why she's like ever since she hatched out because I hatched her here. And I've worked with her all the time, always playing with her. But like, there's times she just likes the bite, and then
Right.
so like I've always handled her, and like I've worked with her through my hands and everything, and she's just one of those ones. It's like, don't touch me, rah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know
And
those.
I heard you, while on that topic, how do you feel about hatchlings when you hatch them out and they're super bitey? Does that get you excited, or does that like how do you feel about it?
I love it. I love it. I like that response. It could be a good thing, especially with the feeding response, because they're gonna tackle it. But
Nope.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, and to me,
Right.
I'm used. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't bug me that they strike. You still get that ooh. But
Yeah.
it's coming. It's coming, and you're like, hey. Sometimes you'll play with them. They'll call, "Hey, you didn't miss me,"
Yep.
you know. But it's still fun. I like it because it's the aggressive feeding response you get out of it. Sometimes, not all the time.
Right.
Sometimes they just strike just because, and they're really scared. Yeah, of course, they see a big hand coming at you. And
Hmm.
too, you new to life, but it's always fun. It's fun to deal with it. But at the same time, then you get the ones that like any and every breeder can tell you, and I'll be the first one to tell you to straight up, you're gonna lose some clutches, you're gonna lose some animals, and it sucks, being blunt about it, it sucks. It really does. You do so much, especially when you raise them as a hatchling and they go to 4 or 5 years and still don't produce, and then you get the
No.
ones that actually do produce and everything comes out, nothing. You don't get nothing out of it, and then you wait another
No.
year, redo it again, and then it's the lucky clutch we call it. Why? Because it
No.
took that much longer to produce. But that's part of it. That's part of being blunt about it. Everybody goes through it. There's not
For
one
sure.
person always can say, "Oh, I always produce and I'll have this and I have that," and I'm like,
No.
nah. I beg to differ because we've been doing this for quite some time, and it's always a hit and miss. You don't
Yep.
guarantee. Yep.
And the one thing I see is people trying to count their chickens before they hatch, man. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna produce this or I'm gonna produce that." And I'm like, "No, you may produce this, you may produce that." I was
Normal.
like, "The odd God smile on you, you may hit what you're looking for."
Right. Right. I agree, man. And you can't count your chickens until they're hatched, and
No.
you get a 14 egg clutch, woohoo, nice, but you may only hit whatever, it's just
Yep.
that. So and
No.
you can't do anything to manipulate what's gonna come out. So it is what it is.
Right. And that's one thing that's I notice is like a common thing is people ride out like like they're super, they put all their eggs in one basket on this one pairing, and I'm like, like you can't do that because you never know, like that female looks or swollen, she looks like she's going to produce a lot of good eggs, but I've seen some that look like she's going to drop a big clutch, and she did, but they're all slugs. And
Exactly.
then it cripples their whole breeding season, and some people, like, they try doing this as a business early on, and I'm like, you can't, like, don't expect to
Learning.
to make.
It's always a learning experience. That's affected me. I've had my ups and downs, and there's been times that I'm like, you know what, the hell with this,
No.
and it's like, then I talk to a couple of my guy friends, like, hey, come pick this up, man. I'm done with this, and they're like, no, 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 I'm done, bro. Like, I'm done because stupid incubator didn't work, or this froze out, and you lose X amount of clutches, and you're like, but
Oh,
that's the reality when you try to control everything. Yeah, it does help incubating. Mom sometimes doesn't do well incubating, and we can't
right.
control everything. So, but as much as we try to control and then hope for the best, it's like, hey, if it happens, happens. If it don't, it's another round. We keep doing it until we get there. And it's always a blessing to see when you produce something that you were aiming for and you hit it. Then it's like, you know,
No.
but can't celebrate until you see it. And then even then, when it hatches out, you still gotta first shed, second shed, food response, see if it's gonna go. If they
See
come
if it's
back,
actually gonna thrive or
well,
if it's.
you still can't count them until they're like months in, and then we can go. All right, this one's surviving, this one's doing good, this one's eating, pooping. All right, let's go. You know.
Right. That's
So,
it's always nuts. It's a process, and
yeah.
it's crazy to see like some of the newer people getting into it, and then trying to be like, like, you see them making all these same mistakes that either you've seen before or you've made yourself, and you try helping them out, but you can only do so much. That's why I like doing these videos with big guys like you and other people, and having this like up there for people that haven't started breeding yet or have a collection and want to get into breeding.
Hmm.
These types of interviews like this, helps them. They learn from our mistakes or learn from mistakes that we've
Oh,
seen.
sure. I share all the wealth with everybody. And I can name drop big people in this business. I can name drop them. I got direct contact with them. But it's not about that. It's about learning. It's about
No.
doing what you have to do on your end to succeed.
Yep.
We were taught back in the day, and if you want, I'll tell my story how I got into it. But I, when I was 8 years old, I was a little kid. I had normal. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And we're going back. I'm not gonna say my age, but we're going back. You know what I mean? And,
I'm not gonna say my age, but
yeah, my age, but we're going back. And then I remember pastels were 7K. You know what I mean? We'll go that
yep.
far. And
That's how you know.
like,
Never mind. I'm not gonna make fun of you.
I was walking with dinosaurs, brother. No, I'm not that old, but yeah, I learned a lot, and the people that I got to meet, the people that took me under the wing, they're big time people, man. These guys are worldwide known. These people
no.
have been in this industry forever. And if I needed, and what I love the fact is the fact that if I needed to call Jay Brewer, if I needed to call Brian Barksick, if I needed to call any of those big names, right? You know them. Oh, Snake Bites. Oh, Prehistoric Pets. If
Right.
I needed to call Tim, if I needed to call, Justin Kabelka, I would pick up the phone. Hey, man, I have this problem, and they would listen to me, and they would guide me, and they would provide me information. And I have the same. I will do the same. You call me and say, hey, this is a problem. Well, let's diagnose it. What's wrong with your
No.
incubator? What's wrong with this? What's that? Have you checked this? Have you checked that? What about this? Well, let's play it out. Oh my, this one's having pooping problems. Well, I've done this. This is what I was taught. This is what I gained as far as knowledge. And people are scared to be very, very blunt and vocal about, ill animals. And no, we all go through it. You can't say, "Oh, he's a big breeder. It's everything's perfect." No, hell no.
Mhm.
And they're the first one to tell you, and they should tell you, "Hey, 90% of my clutches are okay, but not all of them succeed. Not
Yep.
all of them. It's the truth."
Yeah, eggs
And
go bad. I mean,
people tell you,
there's tons of things that happen that people and what sucks is there's some people that are fairly big in the industry that are like I say like on Instagram or stuff like I don't want to say big influencers but medium sized influencers and they make it seem like it's all sunshines and daisies and that everything's good and that they don't show the
no,
bad side of it. They always show the good and I mean
they're
there's
scared.
good to be positive but to be open with people like hey if you're gonna do what I'm doing you need to know that that's not what this isn't how it always goes. Some eggs go bad, some eggs come out infertile, so or that or if they hatch out,
And
it's
I'm gonna
they may
be,
not make it.
I'm gonna be blunt about this. I've been, I got good friends in this industry, and I got friends that go, here, check this out, keep it. They gift me a snake. Beautiful
Mm.
animal. Beautiful. Gorgeous. And I'm like, woo, this thing's awesome. Smoking. A year later, open a tub upside down.
Yep.
I can't control every little thing. They're fed
Yep.
clockwise. Their water bowl is clean. They're always cleaned out. I mean, we provide as much as we can perfection as to our limits.
Right.
And then you open a tub and it's upside down. Like, what? You know, we don't know. We can't control every little thing, but we try to educate ourselves. Okay, what did I do and what went wrong? We don't know, but you're going to have that situation happen. Will
Yep.
everybody be very blunt about it?
No.
No, they'll hide it. Oh, this animal, I sold it. No, you didn't. I bet you anything it died.
Yep.
But they're not going to admit it, and that's fine. Okay, well, won't it is what it is. But
Right.
with experience, I'll be the first one to tell you honestly, we don't know. Sometimes it happens. Not all the time, but it's out of our control. We can't control every little thing. I breed dogs. I started breeding dogs and I was very public about it.
Nope.
Then I get the haters, blah 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 blah. Then I got you shouldn't cut the ears and do it. You don't even know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not first round. Just because I'm now being visual doesn't mean I haven't done it. And it's
No, no,
like
for sure.
there's reasons to everything, and there's likes to everything. I had a litter. The customer wanted the ears cropped on my dog. Okay, you're paying for it, and I got it done perfectly by a vet. To the
Yep.
vet, get it done. They charge you a large amount, but here you go. They go through the process, and then the other ones never got them done. So you have a choice. Everything's a choice. Whether you choose right or wrong, that's solely on your judgment and who taught you or how they taught you. So we can't go out there and blame people, but you know, choose your sources wisely too. And that's all I can say about that. I talk to people that have been in the industry for a while. I don't think I'm anything in this industry. I'll throw in my 2 cents because I've experienced it, and I'm going to tell you it's not always the best, but you got to appreciate the normals you produce. I'll be blunt about it, and that's the
Sure.
way it is.
No, for sure. I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, it's funny, and I noticed this even just recently, is like if you don't post everything you have, and then when you do post something like I was telling you before this, when I posted a couple of the ball pythons, people lost their mind, and they were like, "When did you get ball pythons?" I've had ball pythons. I just didn't post them. Same with my rhino iguana. I post the rhino iguana. When did you get that? I've had them for a while. Oh, well, I hadn't seen them. Blah blah blah. Like people like lose their mind. Like as if you just got it today
Hmm.
and you've had this animal for years. I mean, and I've done a live where I went out to my tortoise pen and they're like, "Who gets 40 tortoises in one day?" I'm like, that would suck.
Yeah.
I can only imagine who would deal with 40
Be like,
freaking
you must
giant
have a large
sulcatas in
farm.
one day. Like,
No,
no.
no,
I'm
that
gonna
would be.
hard pass on that one.
Yeah, no, and that's it's funny. Everybody has something to say. It's not always the right thing to say, but they'll have an opinion, and everybody is entitled to their opinion. It
Nope.
doesn't matter, really, only if you allow it.
Nope.
That's it. If
There's
I allow you to get into my head and say, well, "You're this, you're that," well, I'm sorry. I'm not here to please the whole world, but I can please only 2% of it.
nope.
you know and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. You're not here on this earth to please 99% of it.
Right.
So I'm sorry, but
It's like what Billy says, my channel, my content. If you don't like how I do things and stuff, then my channel must not be for you, and that's just
mhm,
how it is.
yeah.
Um, and like you get those people that don't like the live feeding aspect. Now, I'm not a huge fan of it, but when it comes to like educational, like you're talking, say, like venomous, that's something that people should know. I feel like, especially with like we say like native species. Now, Arizona's home to 26 species of venomous reptiles. And it's crazy. But I mean, and the amount of the venomous that you see in a single knife, you go out in the desert, I mean it's crazy. I mean, I took out my boy Levi and far out west, way out west, reptiles, and we counted 32 venomous snakes in one night. We were only out there for like 3-4 hours.
Nice.
It was crazy. It was, dude, we were
but
tripping
but
over them at some point.
people don't understand. Oh, just because, I mean, if you come to LA, they call it the concrete for a reason. Everything is concrete in LA. But once you start going outskirts, you know then you start seeing wildlife, and wildlife rules out here. You know what I mean? I was mountain biking, and mountain lions are real. They're a real thing. And so, yeah, did I see it? Yeah, did I record it? Because I had a GoPro on. I encountered one, and it was maybe 30, 40 meters from me, and they could have got me and my buddies in a couple seconds. But
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
all they did is cross our paths and mind its own business. But we were like, okay, it's real. and people don't understand that. And there's a lot of things going from keeping hots to just recognizing what the dangers are. Period.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's
I
out
mean,
there.
it's
It's
we
not.
we've had that happen out here where like javelina are like crazy out here.
Mhm.
And dude, like if you mess the javelina, they go. It's like a pack mentality. If one goes after you and makes that noise, they're all going after
Every
you.
coming. Yep.
Like it's nuts. And so like those things I've heard a lot of people like up north from me. So like I'm down in the middle of Arizona towards Gila.
Hmm.
Um, and if you head up north towards like Flagstaff or like the Four Corners type thing, Javelina up there, they're tearing up people's houses, tearing up people's like cars just by driving by. Like if they feel threatened, dude, they go right for it.
They go
And it's
for you.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy, and like there's times like I've gone fishing, and I'm sitting there on a little dock, and I'm just looking at a mountain lion drinking water like not too far from me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Well, you stay there, I'll stay here. Don't get me. I'll give you a fish. Just leave me alone.
Exactly. You do your thing. Pretend you don't see me. That's it.
Yup, yup. And they just go on their way. Like it's cool how they don't go out. It's not like they're going out of their way to get you type thing.
They don't.
And,
Wildlife, man. They have their own mentality. You gotta abide by their mentality. It's survival of the fittest, and,
yep,
and you know, and people don't understand that. That's the way it is. And same goes out to growing up in the hood. Same thing. Same mentality,
nope,
and it is what.
nope, for sure. So let's see. I'm like a whole list of questions for you, so I stay on track here. So, what is your favorite reptile that you work with?
I love snakes. I love snakes. Um, but that would be my ideal reptile. I've always loved snakes. Um, if I could have, well, I'm gonna step onto
Uh,
I can have an animal, but we'll
oh,
get to my
you
my
jump into
my
the end of the questions
obtainable,
already.
my very obtainable. I love mutations on ball pythons. I like it. I like reticulated pythons more than anything. Those are my go-to animals. If you show me a retic, I'm gonna be like, ooh. If you show me a ball python, same thing. But yeah, that would be my ideal. I have also tortoises. Thanks to you, I got one. I got a few. I picked up some leopard tortoises as well, and obviously I have tons of dogs and whatnot. But yeah, my ideal go-to reptile would be, well, obtainable reptile would be the snakes. I love snakes. Um, I want to get into arachnids, but I'll leave that for another time.
Hey, you ever try to get into arachnids? I got you. Ugh, no, dude,
Yeah.
I legit have a wall of just arachnids, dude. Arachnids and scorpions. Like
I'm not
it's
I'm not
nuts.
scared of them. I'm not scared. I don't have any fear towards animals. Not per se. It's not like, oh, I'm scared of it. No, I'll hold a scorpion. I'll hold, uh, you know, all kinds of animals. I have no problem with it. It's just I give them their respect as well. But
No.
it's, man, I mean, I just haven't pulled the trigger on it and say, hey, I'm gonna, because everything.
I'll be honest with you. I was scared of tarantulas for the longest time. I was deathly afraid of them, and I had no idea why I was so scared.
Yeah, not until
And I mean, I'm like, dude, like
that's
I've
cool.
been bit by retics. I've been bit by monitors, and I'm like, why am I scared of a little thing that's fang is like this big?
Right.
I was like, why am I scared of this thing? And and I've handled venomous, and I've messed with them and played around with them, and I'm like, I don't, I'm not as scared of messing with the reptile as I am like a tarantula. So the only way to conquer your fear is to just dive right in. So a buddy of mine was getting rid of a small collection of tarantulas. So you know what? I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get them. So I got them. I got a Arizona blonde, and that one that beautiful tarantula, beautiful yellow and brown, like a golden color. And their demeanor is just amazing, and they're
Hmm.
great for handling. They're really forgiving, and very hardy.
Yeah, and what's funny? The only animal that actually had me other than that cougar experience that kind of shook me. But the actual animal that scared the living bejesus out of me is that when I was up in Phelan, visiting Soul Ampus in this Forever Wild, and I was looking at a tiger, and it was a good 40 feet away from me. I turned around and started walking back, and all I heard is like a growl, like the deepest growl. I looked
Uh,
back, and there's a cat standing at the edge of the cage, like, man, if it wasn't for this, you know what I mean? And that growl was like, it was, even everybody turned around and looked my way, like what'd you do, you know? And I'm like, I was dead if I wasn't in the wild. But yeah, it was.
he wanted that dark meat, man.
He was Poles con chorizo, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But but now, man, that's like, that's the only animal. The tiger, just the way it growled, and when I turned around, it was up. I'm talking about, it's like freaking
He's
tall.
standing right. He's standing over you. You're just like,
And I'm like,
thank you, fence.
yeah. It's like, thank you, friends. Exactly, because dude, that thing put some fear in me. Other than that, I mean, I'll play with. Oh, that's a vicious pit bull. Maybe have them. You know, I'll play with them.
Mhm.
You know, animals sense and they show. And one thing about reptiles, they don't show emotion, not all the time, but you can see the way they act, they react. If they want you to handle them or not.
Yep.
And then it goes into really being observant. And but when dogs wag their tail, cats will come up to you or not. But man, that thing, yeah, that's the only one that's really scared me. And this was years ago, and like, oh, like no tomorrow. But other than that, I really don't fear animals. Everybody goes, oh, a rattlesnake, and I'm like, let me go get it. You know what I mean? But it's other than that, it doesn't, nothing like that.
No, yeah, it was weird. I think that's the only thing that ever like and I think what it was is one, the lack of knowledge, and then two, I learned. I think I had that fear put into me by my parents. And they're not into reptiles whatsoever. They don't like the creepy, the way they say it, the creepy crawlies is what they tell it. And and so once I really like started researching them and then had one, I finally was like, what's worst gonna happen? It's gonna bite me. I'm not gonna die.
Hmm.
So I stuck my hand in there, and she crawled right up my hand and was chilling on my hand. And after like a mini panic attack, like, all right, this is happening. It is on my hand. Like, there is no going back now. After that, I was just like, hey, this is cool. Just sitting here, letting her crawl on my arm and do her thing, and I'm letting her walk over and kind of just working her like you would a reptile. And she went right back in her cage, no problem. I didn't get bit. And ever since then, I grew out from fear to loving this species. And then now I've got 50, 60 species of tarantulas, and I've got one species which is the largest, and it's the Goliath bird eater. And
Cool.
that thing's almost the size of a dinner plate.
Right.
Um, Now those I never handle willingly. They just sometimes run out of their cage onto
And
me,
they're
and you're just
fast,
like,
man. They
oh
are.
yeah, being that big, dude, they're quick. Like, you
Yeah.
think that something that big, you'd be a little slower. Nah, dude, once those legs start going, they're gone.
You gotta go quicker.
Oh yeah, no, I had one. It was a juvenile, and he was about that long. Like his body was here, and his legs probably stretched out to about that far. He had ran up my arm all the way up here, and I'm freaking out trying to stop him, and I'm just scaring him. And by the time I go to stop him, I'm behind him, so it just got him to jump and get farther up. This dude had crawled up under my glasses, and I'm looking at his fangs, and his fangs are going moving like this over my eye, and I'm like, this is my nightmare. And
Nice.
I had to get him to back off with my glasses. I had to like move my glasses to like get him up, and then finally like, got him to like crawl on my forehead and get him back on, and to get him back in the cage. But like that one, I was like, okay, I gotta watch what I do with these. Like,
You gotta
that
keep.
that could have been bad. Like, they
Yep.
they definitely demand their respect. And that one, he showed me. He's like, you see how quick I got here? Mess around and find out.
Yeah. Try me again.
Yep. He's all, go ahead, so open that cage. Now to this day too, when I open that cage, I'm like real careful with it. Um, and just show him the respect that that dude, deserves.
Right.
Um, so I think we already touched bases on how you got into the hobby, right? I,
When I was a
uh,
little kid, yeah, I've owned snakes since I was 8 years old. Um, my dad hooked it up with that, but my mom hated snakes back then. But as a little kid, man, I got to have a bunch of snakes, and when I was in high school, I messed up. I didn't clean them, and my mom got home from work and she smelled it, and she went to find that smell, and she's like, "Take this crap out of my house." And that years, but it was my fault. My dad's like, "You did so well for so many years, and she didn't know you had them." He's
It's
like,
all it
"No,
took.
rid of them." So yeah, that was
Um,
that.
so what was your first reptile?
It was a ball python, normal ball python.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
See, and I feel like that's majority of people's most first reptiles, like a beginner reptile, would
right,
be is the ball python, and I think that's pretty cool. Sadly, that was not my first. No,
right. I
I
wasn't
took
bark
care of
snake,
them.
but you got a berm, but yeah, ball
No,
python.
I had taken care of my uncle's animals. I had or both of my uncles. One was a. It's funny because they were actually in the live one time when I was explaining this, and they gave me crap afterwards, but it was still funny. Um, so my one uncle, he's really small, but he likes red tail boas. As to where my other uncle is as tall as I am, if not an inch or two taller, and he likes ball pythons. So I always thought that was weird. Like the little guy likes the big snakes, and the big guy likes the little snakes. So it always kind
Right.
of made me laugh. And I always thought that was like a joke in itself. But I took care of their animals when they were working. They were doing construction, so I never really had time for their animals. I was keeping them, feeding them, cleaning them, and then we started breeding them back when I was a kid. So I was part of all that. They moved back to Vermont and I stayed in Arizona, and I didn't have any reptiles until I was about 12, 10 or 12,
Mm.
between that area. And I was a kid that was just left alone a lot. So I had a tank and everything needed, and I ended up fighting a rattlesnake in the front yard. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to keep that." So that was my first reptile
Oh,
was
really?
a
Right.
diamondback. And what's crazy is she was so like after a month or two of her calming down and being in captivity, she calmed down so well that it was like I owned a ball python. She was demeanor was super friendly, let me handle her, like she was just chill. But of course she demanded that respect, so I learned that early. And
Right.
it was crazy. And it was funny because my dad didn't know, and I had her for about like 4, almost 5 years. And my dad thought it was just a ball python until he bumped her cage when he was walking by, and he never looked, he didn't care. And he bumped her cage walking by, and then all of a sudden the rattle goes off, and he freaked out. I have never
Oh
seen this man jump so high.
man, oh man, I would have too. Shoot.
It caught him by surprise. He's like, "When did you get that?" I was like, "I had it for years." What? You like had to explain to him how long I've had this thing. He had no idea.
Nice.
But let's see. So, what would you say would be your favorite morph out of ball pythons, or in? Actually, you know what? I'm going to extend that. What would your favorite morph be in ball pythons and retics, since those are your two favorite pythons?
I'm a sucker for anything golden child on the retail side. And as far as ball pythons, I love um, certain, and I'm very picky when it comes to that certain line of the caramel. I'm very picky with caramel, highway, and um, what is that one called? I forgot. Well, I like the Panda Pied out of all. What who doesn't, right? The
Right?
That's like the go-to for everything. But those four genetics are the ones that I would go for. Definitely. Everything else is nice, but the caramel, I'm gonna name drop the ones that Adam's Reptiles had. Adam Serrano. He That caramel was so, even though she was older, she kept her color. She transmitted that color to her babies, and it was just immaculate. Always so bright, so defined. I haven't seen any other caramel albinos like that. Um, Obviously, the highway was my go-to. It's even in my logo um, that I had designed, so that was my go-to. And the panda pide's been the glory of all ball pythons. You know that there's very different ways now to produce them or something similar to it, but yeah, that's always been the go-to.
I like the Panda Pine. I've never owned one or had one, and I think I've only ever held one. And
Hmm.
I love the way they look. They're beautiful.
But
I really like the contrast on them.
my ultimate that I have is my GHI hypo GHI Mojave.
Nice. That's actually I look really pretty.
That's
Um,
that thing is beautiful. That to me is just like whoa, you know. That's my go-to snake.
See, and the hypo GHI Mojave. I mean, just hypo or sorry, just GHI Mojave is just a really dark, really beautiful looking snake. So to throw hypo into that, that's actually pretty cool because
It
that's got to have like a golden or more of a golden sheen.
the outcome is just insane. I love it. I mean that's my go-to snake. That I mean it may be a by cheap, and what I mean by value, it's not that much of an animal, but it's just beautiful. To me, it's just a gorgeous animal. Period. We're having issues with the stand over here, but
Yeah, mine was having that issue too. It started falling. I was like, "What are you doing, phone?"
yeah.
Emily, what up, Emily? How's it going? See everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Let's see. Why is my phone acting up? There it goes. So, what would be your most anticipated pairing or hatching this season or
I'm
next season?
I'm hatching normals. Forget the Morse. You gotta have normals.
You got
Um, I got some cool stuff coming. I'll post them. I usually don't post much lately, but I'll post them. I'll post them. I'll promise that I'll post them.
there you
That
go.
I won't post until give me a couple weeks, but I'll post them. And
I
then
like it.
that way you guys can visit my page a little more and give me some likes. Other than that, but yeah, I'll post them. I got some cool stuff coming, and I'll have them probably ready for purchase in January for the Reptile Super Show.
Ooh, so I'm gonna get some exclusives seeing them over there at the show.
Hmm. You get to play with them.
Oh, there we go. So what is your goal as a breeder?
Oh man, my goal as a breeder would be educate everybody as much as possible by being honest with them. Um, Same way I was mentored myself. The wealth of knowledge is there, and the ones that took the time to teach me, I'll do the same with whoever wants to know about anything. As long as I know, I'm going to share the wealth. Um, that's my goal. Ultimate goal is to educate everybody right through experience, not because it's in, oh, well, this happened, that happened. Yeah, we want to learn what happened, but not just say, oh, this one person, he's been breeding for 2 years, and you know, that longevity of time. It is time, but it's not fully experienced. Fully experienced people are the ones that are going to tell you the ups and downs in this hobby. They're going to tell you all the ins and outs of this hobby. They're going to tell you, if they're honest, they're going to tell you, no, we don't all, not everything survives in our racks.
No,
And those are people that I want to, gain more knowledge from because it's never ending,
for
and
sure.
convey information over to others. That's my goal. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say, hey, you're going to produce normals because all big time people still produce normals.
Oh, for sure.
We're not going to be exempt from normals. Oh, you have a 3 gene animal, you'll get no normals. Oh, no, you'll get them. I,
Hmm.
myself, you'll get normals. Yeah, they may have a little umph behind them, but you'll still get them.
No, for sure. I mean, it's funny listening to people too, like the newer people getting into it. They're like, oh well, I'm putting this 3 gene animal to this 2 gene animal, and
Mm-hmm.
they're all the dominant traits, and I'm like, okay, you still have the chance to make normals. He's like, no, no, I won't make a normal. I'm like, okay,
Oh, no,
okay.
you'll. Oh,
I
no,
was
you'll
like,
still.
okay, we'll see. And the one guy I remember is because I remember he tagged me in the post. He's like, you jinxed me. 5 eggs, 3 normals, and 2 dominant traits in each, or two dominant traits in the other two.
That's
They're
nice.
just 2 gene animals. I was
Yeah.
like, out of 5 genes, he only got two that had genetics in them, and it was just two,
Mm-hmm.
and the others were just normals. And I was just like, so yeah, I told you, like I told you that you never actually, did, like I told him, like you're never gonna not hit normal. There's a
Right.
chance that you may actually get up there where you have so many dominant, or if you put a super into it,
Yeah. And
then you won't
funny,
ever hit a normal.
let me use my last snake post where you had the baby swimming.
Oh, I like
It's a
that one. Go ahead.
five gene male to a
Uh,
single gene to a possible single gene female. 5 gene male to a possible single gene female.
yep.
And it's a possible because they didn't know if it was it just looks a certain way, but it's not proven. So I say it's a normal.
Right.
The babies, because it was a 5 gene male, you still have to determine what they carry,
Yep.
and they're all um, dominant and codominant. So you still have to see. You'll see them with a solid stripe all the way down, and you would think it would be it's a genetic stripe, but it's not. And then you have the alien heads almost wiped out, clear. Then you got the golden top. Little things, little traits. Again, 5 gene male to say a normal, and you still got three normal looking animals. But once you start looking at them carefully, then you start, oh, well, there's some kind of influence here. What could have been that? What can this be? So you're not going to guarantee, hey, oh, this is a blackhead. Oh, this is a ringer. Oh, this is this. This is that. No, you're not guaranteed that. But they came out super clean. What if it's a cleaner gene? How do we know that? Well, there you go. There's your proof. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's
And
the
and
cool thing
that's
about it. Cool thing about breeding. Will I sell them for a lot? No, that's not about money. It's sharing the wealth with others. That's it. Yeah,
yep.
do they cost a lot? Sure. A lot of my chances to win there were based upon animals that were worth a lot and went for little. And someone got blessed with something cool. Awesome. You create that opportunity. We don't all have that opportunity to have a $5,000 animal, $2,000 animal because they cost a lot. But
Oh, for sure. And,
you know,
and and that one there actually brings up one of the other questions that I have is, how do you feel about the market right now with reptiles? Like with people selling morphs under the value, like how do you think that affects our industry?
industry wise, I mean, animals, people will always set a price, and it is. I mean, there's variables. There's a lot of variables. I mean, there's a normal pied, I've seen them for 300, $250, you know,
Right.
and then I've seen them for $600, and they're just normal pie balls. So it really, the market is going crazy because there's times people have money and there's people times that they don't. And there's people that think that their animal's worth $1,000 when it's only worth 200 to some people. So it all depends. It's going to be a buyer's opportunity. If the buyer has the money to pay for a certain amount of animal and they really like it, they're going to buy it. If they don't, then it is what it is. So people control the market, and yeah, everything's nicer when it's cheaper, but then again, then you got the different variables. Again, people will get rid of animals. I've been sitting on somewhat expensive animals and set them at a price where they're it's a heck of a price, and they still don't pull the trigger. You know what do I need to do? Put them for free?
Right.
So, so that's where that comes from. I'm not gonna put them for free, but then again, I'm not selling for the full retail. I just need them out of the racks. Will they pull the
Right.
trigger? They still don't. They still want to go. Oh, can you go cheaper? Well,
Yep.
then it's not about the animal. It's about the price. It's
Yep.
there's variables on there and everything. So.
And the reason I asked that one too is it's a big thing right now where and for those that keep like red Ackie monitors or just Ackies in general.
Hmm.
Um so the Ackie market, the average was $600 per for a baby. Um and all of a sudden within 2 months span the market dropped so bad that people were just selling like they were just selling them for $200 a piece.
Oh
They went
wow.
from 600 to where people were just trying to shoo them out the door for 200 a piece. And so now people, that breed them are like, okay, well, it was six. Now there's some for two. Where do I go with this point? Like, do I keep my
Same.
prices and hold steady at six or?
I completely agree. Um, and just recently, I had a few ball pythons up for sale, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm gonna hook someone up, and I priced it at a certain amount. I said this much.
Yep.
Me thinking to myself, dude, I'm gonna hook him up with a snake. That person goes back and is like, well, if you go check on this site, you can get it for this much. I go to the site and I'm like, holy crap! When did it take a dive?
Yep.
When did it lose its value like that? And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I'll do it for that price. And they're like, nah, I don't want it. I'm like, okay, but now I was like, dude, where, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's hatchling. It's almost, it's practically a juvenile, and it's still for a hatchling price, and they're like, nah, I don't want it. Okay, well then you're price shopping, but
Yeah.
it's like, geez, man. I was like, well, if I have to drop $2,000 on the price of the value of the animal, then so be it. And they still didn't want to take it. I'm like, well, you're just price shopping then.
And it's crazy how the market like fluctuates by state too.
Mhm.
It like Arizona. We'll take Arizona for instance. Sulcata tortoises sell here for dummy cheap, like $15, $10, or $50. Hets go for about 100. And then in different states, I'm seeing like California. I was seeing at Pomona, $200 for a
$200.
sulcata tortoise, and I
Yep.
was like, what? Like that blew my mind. $200 for something
Uh,
in my a state over. And
uh,
what I was finding out is they thrived and breed successfully in the thousands in Arizona, but in Florida, or sorry, in California, it's a little harder. Only half of the clutch actually comes out. Half of them are actually, like ready to
supply and
go
demand.
and things like that. Because you
Supply.
guys have your weather changes.
Mhm.
And so it's just it was insane to find that out. And then like Texas, I think is like 50, 75. Yep, there it is. Yep. uh Sulcata baby 150 for the cheapest. Holy crap, Bosa.
Where's that?
uh I have no idea. Bosa, where are you? That's Florida.
That's Florida. Wow.
Bosa, yeah, Bosa's Florida. I forgot about that. Yeah, he's in Florida, so that's 150 for Florida. And Texas is 75. So it's
Oh,
crazy, and even in the comments right there, that it goes to show like the fluctuation state by state is just insane. Um, at Homestead, Florida, yeah, that's what I thought. So
yeah.
yeah, it's insane
I just
to
thought of myself. for $150. Yeah. So yeah, it just depends.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the person wanting and liking it too.
Yep.
They of course they are educated. They ask questions like, how long do they live? Well, let's be honest with them. You're gonna
Yep.
have your grandchildren are gonna inherit. If
Oh,
you
for
take
sure.
good care of it, your grandchild is gonna inherit. Um, you know, be mindful of that.
I'm
Some
so
don't.
blunt with that. Like people are like, how long they live for? I'm like, I'm just gonna be clear with you. As long as you take care of this animal, it will outlive you.
Hmm.
And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, they will outlive you. Your grandchildren may end up with these. And they're like, no way. I was like, yeah. Like
Yeah,
nobody ever believes me. And then they start looking into it, like really looking into it. And you see, freaking some that have or been up there for to was it 120 something years or something like that.
yeah,
Um, and it's insane, like to think that they actually live that long and get this big. As
yeah,
for those that don't know, Sulcata tortoises are actually the third largest tortoise in the world.
yeah. I
Yeah.
seen them heavy as almost 200 pounds.
Oh yeah, no, I had one. Big
Yeah.
male. He was 100 and I want to say last I was able to pick him up and weigh him was 160 pounds. After that, I was using the tractor. I wasn't picking him up no more.
No,
Like
they get big, man, and they
yeah,
use body weight.
oh for sure, 100%. Those
The
dudes, they are
close to 60 pounds.
bulldozers.
Yeah, they're huge. The one I have, he's a male, and he's close to 65 pounds right now.
The female you're about to have in January is already about 80.
Oh, and she's big.
She's a
I
big
got
girl,
I
dude.
got plenty of room for tortoises, which is
She's
cool.
she's a she's a big girl. For sure.
Hey,
She's
I'm working like mad daylight out here, man.
You're
I'm
good.
on my.
I got you. You got to turn the light on. No, I got you here. I'll fix it up. No.
There you go. I don't know if that helps, but
Yeah, it works.
it works a little.
Um, a little bit.
A little bit.
um, so what is one species that you would never work with and why?
Oh, humans. Um, humans are the worst. um, shoot, one species of animal I would never work with.
And that
Tigers.
could go into anything as like a super big monitor or venomous, anything like that.
I don't know, man. I never thought of it. I'll tell you a species that I wish I could have. I would do everything for it and get all the permits if I could, but that would be a Komodo dragon.
Oh, that'd be
But
cool.
dude, that's goals for me, man. If I could ever have an island and own one just to have one, yeah, that would be awesome. That would be my go-to. Yeah, yeah. Gotta love humans. It's the only species I want to
um,
work.
so if you could own one species or any species, or one or a pair, if you had all the permits, everything, what would it be and why?
The Komodo dragon, man. The
And
Komodo
would you
dragon.
keep one or two?
I would keep two because I would be able to produce and they would totally dominate the island. As long as you have the food source for it, or if you had unlimited bank account, definitely would be able to provide them with the food and that's I dude I go to San Diego Zoo just to see them. That's just a
Right?
go. That's an epic animal to own for me personally. I don't that's the animal that I love and I would love to have one, but it's not going to happen, not in this world, especially because
No.
they're just they're permits.
Endangered now.
Yeah, if anybody can, it's not possible. They're dominant, very dominant animals, and they're powerful too. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
My goal doing tours of zoos and stuff is to get in the same room
mhm.
with one. Like whether I'm in the cage or like just right next to one. That's my
Dude,
goal.
that would be goals. That would be the ideal dream come true. You know
For
that
sure.
it would be like, let me hold them, you know. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna survive the bite, but let me hold them,
Yep,
you know.
I'm
But
down. I am willing. That is something I am willing to do.
if you lose a limb, then but it was epic, you know.
Um,
That would be the ideal animal for sure.
let's see. So I got a funny question for you.
Oh
And
man,
I stole this one from my boy Derek over at Derek's Reptiles. You guys make sure to check out my boy. If how many followers do you need have to be or to tell your wife that you're famous now so you can't be bothered to take out the trash?
that's a that's a dumb question. Well, I will never be famous, but man, just 5 followers, man, I'm famous already. I'd be like, deuces, you go. No, just kidding. No, not at all.
I told my wife, I was like, "Yep, I'm famous now." So how so? I was like, "Oh," I was like, "We reached 500 subs on YouTube." I was like, "I can't take out trash no more. That's your new wifely
Right?
duty." Yeah, I got a chocolate to the head, and then for good measure, she like punched me in the ribs.
No, no.
She's like,
I
"You gonna take out the trash?" I was like, "Yes."
no, man. No, not famous. It's not about fame. To me, it's not about being popular or famous or anything like that. I don't care for that. I've met a lot of famous people in my lifetime already, and they're just like you and me, man. They're just that's it. I saw something come up. What did it say?
Oh, it's my buddy talking crap, Eric B. He goes, "You've been famous since your debut at SeaWorld."
Hey, they caught us both swimming together, bro. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, all right. What you doing? What you talk about over there, Eric? Missing the bean, you get the burrito, bro. No.
For real, man. Don't let the nice shirt fool you, man. We still hood.
um, so if somebody came to you asking for advice on a first snake or a very first reptile, as like a first snake or a first lizard, what would be your answer to that?
What have them? I would ask the question: what have they been exposed to? Have they ever handled an animal like that or any reptile? And if so, what? Many people, believe it or not, are scared of tortoises. Many people are scared of anything creepy crawly. What, like you said. So I would definitely ask, like, narrow it down to, well, are you scared of scales or do you not like something that moves? Tortoises move fast. I don't know who said they're slow. They're quick. So even if they're like this big, they move quick.
Yep.
So are they scared how they walk? What creeps them out? What would they fear? And then off that answer, I would move to something. Just get a description.
when you
Okay.
have friends like when you got friends like this, do you really need enemies? Oh, you guys crack me up. Um,
So I would identify the fear before introducing any animal, if they have any. If they never, then you introduce them. Look, this is not something aggressive. This is not flighty. This doesn't want to bite. This one's known to take away, go away from you fast. You got to catch it. So just to see, where they're at, and then go from there.
I like it. I like that. That's actually a really good like way to look at it. I like
Mm-hmm.
that. So one of my last questions for you is because I know I've taken up a lot of your time. If you had advice for someone who already has a like a collection that is ready to be bred, and like just ready to get into it but hasn't taken that step, if you had advice for them, what would your advice be to that person trying to get into the breeding aspect of the hobby?
Don't let if you don't get what you're hoping for, don't let it bring you down. Don't give up. Um, and that comes with experience. Just because you have a $200 snake and you pair it to a $500 snake, and your odds are there, and you don't produce it, don't give up. You know, if you really want to get into it for production, and produce something, always go for something you never had and produce it, or just like just produce something. It's so amazing to see how things happen, and when you cut the egg or you let it pip out and then you cut the egg, whatever, enjoy it. Enjoy how you're gonna get it to eat. Enjoy everything, every aspect of it. Play with them. Get to know the animal. And they say, oh, they don't show emotion. Yeah, but if you handle them enough, they're gonna recognize you. There's no such thing as that. Oh, a ball python won't recognize. Oh yeah, they recognize you.
Yep.
Same thing with retics. They're smart animals. So
Yeah.
don't give up on your goals. If your goal is to produce, your visual panda pipe, go for it. Do it. Get all the ingredients, grow them up, or buy them already ready to breed. Grow, feed them up, and go for it. If you don't
Yeah.
produce it, well, next one. And if you don't produce it again, next one. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just playing against odds, chances,
Yep.
and that's it. I mean, don't give up. And that's what's happened to me before. You give up, and it's like I can't give up, and then I come back, or losing X amount of clutches because you're basing it off of mechanical things that didn't work out. Well, then don't give up. And if you need to call me, call me. I'll pick my brain. I'm more than happy to help anybody. And as long as I know, if not, we'll find out an answer together. That's the way things are, and that's how it should be.
For sure. I love that. I love asking that question because people unknowingly, when they give this advice, it's as if they're talking to their past selves that are just getting into it. It's like as if they had the chance to talk to the person that they were, X amount of years ago, that were just about to get into this. And so it's genuine, information, and genuine advice. And I love doing this. And like I said, I'm all about the education side of just keeping animals, and of course
Mm-hmm.
trying to breed these guys. So I love asking that because people that are just getting into this, this is something that they can take away from this is keep pushing and don't let things deter you. Fix your mistake and keep pushing, and then
Yeah, definitely.
it's all an odds game. At the end of the day, it's always an odds game.
I agree. I agree.
Did you ask this stuff? Yes, Eric, I did. Sorry, he's asking me if I asked some of the questions. I was like, yeah, I asked those questions. What did you talk about, Willis? Um, so how can people find you? How can all these people that rewatch this and my people in my comments, how can they find you?
Social media, man. I am very. There's an open door policy with me. I mean, you can reach me via email, Instagram, my phone. Text me, call me, whatever. Um, you know, just that's the easiest way.
Appreciate you, Bosa. Right on, bro. I appreciate your time jumping on here. This is a great interview. It was also
Thanks
funny
for
watching the sunset going down behind you.
No, no, I know. I need. I'm in my truck, man, and I had to pull aside and be able to join
You're a
you guys.
busy man, man. I appreciate your time. It's I know this. I know you fit us in when during your busy schedule. So I really appreciate you
No,
taking the time to jump on here and talk to everybody, spit your knowledge, and explain your passion to us, man. I love it.
definitely, man. Yeah. So Socal Exotics is my Instagram. It's Socal Exotics with three S's at the end. And feel free to reach out. I also have my dog's Instagram. It's Socal Aesthetics Bullies. Feel free to follow that one too. But yeah, and if you guys need to have any questions or anything, if I know the answer, I'll share it with the wealth with you. I have no problem answering questions. And that's it. I mean, anything else, I'm up for it. Challenge me. And if not, we'll learn together. Shoot, I'm down.
Cool. All right, right on, brother. Well, I appreciate you. I'll let you get back to heading where you gotta head to, but
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time to hang
Thank
out
you
with
for the
us and
invitation,
jump on
and,
here.
and thank you for having me, and blessings to everybody that joined tonight. I mean, you guys have a busy schedule, I'm sure too, and And if you guys got some cool, uh, tag me in it. Tag me in it. I'll share it too. I mean, the more people know about everybody, everybody's famous in my book. So let's do it. Let's do it again.
Right on. And goes, yeah, guys that are in California, if you guys are looking for some awesome bullies, I mean, my boy's producing some heat over there. So make sure to check out his page, guys, because he got some awesome puppies.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, brother. Well, you guys, I appreciate everybody here. I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors one more time. Help pay them bills. You guys know how it is. Just make sure you guys check out Eden's Den on Instagram, Facebook. Man's doing some awesome stuff, supporting everybody, as well as Fry's Critters out there from Australia, showing some love. Make sure Instagram, Facebook. He's also started a Twitch. Make sure to check that guy out. Zilla Footwear for them awesome custom shoes. If you guys want your logo on the shoes, reach out to them on Instagram or Facebook. Let them know that I sent you over there, and they'll take care of you guys. But thank you again, everybody, and we'll definitely catch y'all on the next one.